So for 41, passage 1. So in a recent court case, a copy shop owner was accused of violating copyright law when, in the preparation of course packs, materials photocopied from books and journals and packed as readings for particular university courses, he copied materials without obtaining permissions from paying sufficient fees to the publishers. Okay, so we're saying in this case, this copy shop owner made these packets that violated it. Okay, cool. As the owners of 5 small copy shops serving several educational institutes in the area, he argued, as have others in the photocopy business, that the current process for obtaining permissions is time-consuming, cumbersome, and expensive. I want to be like, okay, well, it's the law. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, but okay. He also maintained that course packs, which are I don't know what this word is, ubiquitous in higher education, allow professors to assign important readings in books and journals too costly for students to be expected to purchase individually. I mean, I agree with that, but it's still the law. While the use of copyright material for teaching purposes is typically protected by certain provisions of copyright law, this case was unique in that the copying of course packs was done by a copy shop and at a profit. Ooh, okay, so like I feel like there's just this big difference here where we're saying like, yeah, like you're doing this for a good purpose, but you're still selling this and making a profit off of it. It's not just a university doing it for the students to be able to read.
Mhm.
Right, cool. Great. So you do the next paragraph for me.
So copyright law outlines several factors involved in determining whether the use of copyrighted material is protected, including whether it is for commercial or nonprofit purposes, the nature of the copyrighted work, the length and the importance of the excerpt used in relation to the entire work, and the effects of its use on the work's potential market value. Okay, so like basically what it's outlining specifically and kind of like how it would apply. In
Like
bringing
outlining what is copyrighted material? Like what is protected is what we're outlining. Okay, cool.
In bringing suit, the publishers held that other copy shop owners would cease paying permission fees, causing the potential value of the copyrighted works of scholarship to diminish. Nonetheless, the court decided that this reasoning did not demonstrate
What
that
does
court
that mean? I
packs
feel like that sentence is really important.
bringing suit, yeah.
What does that mean?
So basically saying with this suit, the publishers of the works that these owners would have to cease paying the permission fees, or else the value of their works of scholarship was going to diminish.
Okay, so you just reset the sentence. What does that actually mean? Like, what does that refer? Like, why is that important? Whose side
It's
is like whose opinion is or like whose side is this? Or
so the side is it's the publishers
yeah.
of,
And what
of
is
the
it
work
here the publisher saying here? Like, why is what the copy shop doing a big deal to them?
because since the copy shop is basically copying their work without paying any permission fees, like asking if they can do so, the value of the work is diminishing.
Okay, so it's but actually here where I think it's other copy shops would stop doing it. So like
Oh,
we're saying
like they're
if you
following
yes,
example.
like, and so it's like okay, this one instance, but what if everybody starts doing it?
I see. Okay, I literally skipped over the other. Okay.
Cool. Okay, so continue on.
Nonetheless, the court decided that this reasoning did not demonstrate that course packs would have a sufficiently adverse effect on the current or potential market of the copyrighted works or on the value of the copyrighted works themselves.
So I feel
Um,
like understanding that first sentence is really important for this next sentence where we have like this transitional, like nonetheless, even though like they argued this, nonetheless, we decided that them doing this actually isn't going to devalue the work.
mhm.
Right?
The court instead ruled that since the copies were for educational purposes, the fact that the copy shop owner had profited from making the course packs did not prevent him from receiving protection under the law. Okay, so even though it was ruled that they were for educational purposes, he still made a profit, so he wasn't protected under the law.
Okay, so it says here, so instead we said that, so we have our indicator word, like since the copies were for educational purposes, just
Mhm.
because he had profited, that did not prevent him from being receiving like if it didn't, so what does it mean if it did not prevent him from receiving protection under the law?
Did not prevent him from receiving protection. Oh, like that. He that wasn't enough, so that he didn't get protection from it.
So he essentially he could still be protected, right? Like that
Okay.
wasn't a good enough reason to prevent him from getting protection.
Okay.
Like it's not a good enough reason to void like this reasoning. Like just because he profited doesn't mean that he's not protected by this law that
Hmm.
it's for educational purposes.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay. According to the court, the owner had not exploited copyright material because his fee was not based on the content of the works he copied. He charged by the page regardless of whether the content was copyrighted.
That makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Do you want me to keep reading?
Okay, so far, what kind of passage do you think this is? Like, what is this to inform, to persuade, or cost analysis, or like cost benefit?
I don't think it's cost benefit. Okay, inform and persuade, I find difficult to tell the difference from sometimes.
I
Um,
don't think they're trying to persuade us of anything. Like, I don't think
okay.
it's an opinion piece where this person has strong opinions.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do lean more towards informative. I guess it's just sometimes when it's like, um, not like I don't know. Sometimes it's not, even though it's not persuading. I've had passages where it was kind of like saying like they should have done this,
I
and
would say
that's when I
that's
get.
persuaded. That's persuasion.
Oh, okay.
It's like, and it might not. So this one, I actually kind of put this into like an informed slash cost benefit
Mm,
category because I feel like they did like, and so like rather than like just thinking of these in buckets of like, oh, we have to memorize these and it has to fit perfectly, I'm thinking, okay, we give the like the
info.
coffee shop's point of view, and then
Mhm.
we give the publisher's point of view, and then we share like what actually happened.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
so even though I feel like it's more informative, there definitely are two sides to this argument or two different things, right, going on that
Mhm.
we're comparing or contrasting in a way. Do you
Okay.
agree?
Yeah, I agree because they're two, like the first two paragraphs are completely different perspectives.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go into this last paragraph.
Okay. In the court's view, the business of producing and selling course packs is more properly seen as the exploitation of professional copying technologies and a result of the inability of academic parties to reproduce printed materials efficiently, not the exploitation of the copyrighted materials themselves. The court held that copyright laws do not prohibit professors and students who may make copies for themselves from using the photo reproduction services of a third party in order to obtain those same copies at a lesser cost.
So yes, so I definitely feel like we given a problem,
Mhm,
we share one side, we share the other side, and then we give what the court ruled.
mhm.
Um, and so what would you say is the main point? And the other thing is like I don't feel like we have the author opinion in here at all.
No, I agree with the author's not saying like I agree with the court, I agree with the scholars, it should have went this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So what do you think is the main point of this argument? Or what why do you think the author wrote this?
I think the author wrote it because I mean, I guess the author's almost like using this case as an example of how copyright law plays a role in like or like how um like academic resources and copyright law are not related, but like because it rules that it has more to do with the copying of the technology, right? At the end.
So I think that this is less about this. I don't think the author uses this as an example to show us something about copyright law. I think the author really is talking about this specific case. I think the author
Okay.
wrote this to talk about this specific case. Do you
Just to
agree?
inform us on the case.
I think so. Like I mean maybe the reasoning behind it, but I don't think we like I think that it very much so is about like this very specific
Case.
example.
Yeah.
And how and then I think it's like how does the bigger picture impact this case versus how does this case impact the bigger picture?
I see. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So if I were to predict like what I think the main point is, I think the main point is that like maybe like why I think it's like why did the court rule the way they did on this case? I think it's like what the main point is.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so because I mean, with what I was saying before, like it's not like he comes back to copyright law after he gives the court decision. It's more like he gives the court decision, and then specific to this case, that court decision is just different.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and start with A. Tell me love it, leave it, or hate it.
A court recently ruled that a copy shop that makes course packs does not illegally exploit copyright materials, but rather illegally exploits the efficiency. Oh, I actually like that.
Copy that makes course. Okay, cool. Let's go on to B.
A court recently ruled that course packs are protected by copyright law because their price is solely based on the number. No, that's too specific.
Specific. Excellent. All right. What about C?
A court recently ruled that the determining factors governing the copyrights material used in course packs are how the material is to be used, the nature. I mean, I'd almost say too specific again. It's not, it's more focused on the second paragraph. Or in the third, I guess.
Wait, a court in the determining factors governing the copyrights of material used. The nature of them. Factors governing the. So wait, did we determine that? Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, cool. Because it's that second paragraph.
Yeah, like I think it's talking more about what copyright law includes, kind of.
Yeah, copyright in general, not just these packets. Yes.
A recent court ruling limits the rights of publishers to seek suit against copy shops. No, I don't even like this one. It doesn't, we don't know how much it limits the publishers.
Right, and like that's like just talking about like their one side. That's not why they wrote this.
Exceptions to copyright law are made when copyright material is used for educational purposes and no party makes a substantial profit. I think exceptions is almost like too strong here.
Yeah, because is it really an exception?
It's just like they're not guilty of this thing, they're actually guilty of this thing, but it's not an exception to that. You know what I mean? Because we in the end of the second paragraph, he talked about how it wasn't violating copyright law.
Excellent. So we would go with A on this one?
Yeah, I would do A.
Fabulous. Okay, so let's go on to number 2. So here when it says in the lines 23 to 27, the author lists several of the factors used to determine copyrighted material and is protected by law primarily too. So I go back to these lines and I reread, like maybe starting the line above. And I probably would just start with this paragraph, honestly. And I say like, why? So this is just like a rule question. So specifically, why do we include these things? So go ahead and read through that and tell me what is your prediction of why you think the author included what it pertains to?
So copyright law outlines several factors involved in determining whether the use of copyrighted material is protected, including whether it is for commercial or nonprofit purposes, the nature of the copyrighted work, the length and the importance of the excerpt used in relation to the entire work, the effect its use on the work's potential market value. In bringing suit, the publishers held that the copy shop owners would cease paying permission fees, causing the value to diminish. I think it's more like almost to introduce what copyright law protects to show its like relevance to this case, because the case involves copyright, and if it's an informative piece, I think it makes sense to explain what copyright law.
Like, what does it have to fit into? Like, what are the boundaries almost? Excellent.
All right, so A demonstrates why the copy shop owner was exempt from copyright law in the case. I'd say no to that. Explain the charges the publishers brought against the copy shop owner. I mean, I'd probably keep that option, but it's not like my favorite so far reading them.
Okay.
Illustrate a major flaw in the publisher's reasoning. I would say no to that one. Defend the right to use copyright materials for educational purposes. No, it's not using it to defend. It's E. Provide the legal context for the argument.
Why is B so, okay, explain the charges the publishers brought against. So I know that you didn't like this one, but does like what copyright entails explain the charges?
No, I guess it was the sentence right after, because I know it was 25 to 27 when I was reading it. In bringing suit, they held that the owners.
Yes, that would be that part for sure.
Yeah, that's why I just kept it.
Yes, but not necessarily like what is this part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so 3, the copy shop owner, as described in the passage, would be most likely to agree with which one of the following statements. All right, so I like to loosely predict here, like, what do I think the copy shop owner thinks? Like, what is their opinion?
Oh, I hate these questions.
It's kind of like, what is their vibe?
I guess the copy shop owner's vibe is that they, well, one, we're probably looking to make money, but they obviously see themselves as not breaking copyright law because they were charging based off of the page count instead of the like for the academic work itself. So they'd probably,
The coffee shop, I think loosely, I'd be like, the coffee shop owner doesn't think they're doing anything wrong.
yeah, they just want to make a buck.
Well, they just want to pay. They're not even really, they just want to pay for like the materials. They don't feel like they're like taking advantage of anything. Like they're literally just like, yeah. Okay, cool. So let's start with A.
The potential market value of a copyrighted work should be calculated to include the impact on sales due to the use of the work in course pack. Calculated to include the impact on sales. I don't think so.
No, I
I
agree.
don't know if they would agree with that. Publishers are always opposed to the preparation and sale of course packs. I'm not sure either. Like, oh, more copy shops would
Right,
like.
so let's start here. Okay, so B says publishers are always opposed. Do we know that does the copy shop owner think that publishers are always opposed? Like
No,
every
I mean it
single
could.
one? I
It
think
could.
it's strong.
Yeah, I think it's strong. Could have just been one.
Right, or many, most, not necessarily every single one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go on to C.
More copy shops would likely seek permission from publishers if the process for obtaining permission were not so cumbersome and expensive. Oh, I mean, I don't hate that one. I mean, would likely is not super strong.
Yeah, I actually like this because why did he say that they were not, like they didn't go through all the hoops and stuff?
Wasn't it because it was expensive?
Yeah, timely and expensive. So I like that one right now.
Yeah. Certain provisions of copyright law need to be rewritten to apply to all possible situations. I don't know. I don't think this one is even relevant, like to what we know about the copy shop owners.
Yeah, all possible situations. Yeah,
Yeah.
bad answer.
Copy shops make more of a profit from the preparation and sale. We don't know that. They could make more profit from like advertisements for
We have
businesses.
no idea what yeah. So like this one, like we can get through very quickly. Like I think we really need to work on you being more critical of answers.
Yeah, I think
Like
so
not
too.
in a bad, like not in a like you're doing great, but just like how we move forward, where it's like for you to get faster, it's like no, like we don't know this, we don't have proof of this.
Yeah.
So what?
I think also understanding the passage better too, to be honest. The information the passage provides the most support for which, oh, see, I don't like anything most support or like likely to agree with.
About
For the following statements.
oh, see, I like these because this is like directly from the passage. I'm like proof. Okay, so go ahead and start with A.
Copyright law can be one of the most complex areas of any legal system. I don't know. We don't know that.
Right, one of the most complex. We have no idea.
Yeah, strong too, I guess. Courts have been inconsistent in their interpretations of certain provisions of copyright law. No, because I mean, it wasn't a provision of copyright law that was being discussed.
And were the courts inconsistent on anything of their interpretation?
No, we don't
Trying
know
to
if
act like, well, this time it's okay and this time it's not. We don't know that they were inconsistent, so I don't like that.
Yeah. The number of the kinds of material granted protection under copyright law is steadily decreasing. We don't know that either.
Yeah, not at all.
New practices can compel the courts to refine how copyright law is applied. What are the new practices? I don't know.
That's one that I would probably leave open because I'm thinking because essentially like can technology allow it to be like the goal is like this educational purpose. So for them it was how it was applied. I feel like we changed how it applied because now this this photo or this shop company was doing it and like we kind of like changed how copyright law could be applied from just like the schools doing it for educational reasons to the copy shop.
Oh, I see. Okay. Like having the students go to the copy shop instead.
Right, or
So,
like technology or something like like creates like how it's like it's not necessarily changing what the law is, it's just changing like refining like where it can be used and how it can be used.
mm, okay, we'll keep that. And then E, copyright law is primarily concerned with making published materials available. No, I mean, copyright law can do with any published materials.
So what would you have done if you read E and you still like and you crossed them all off?
If I left between these two, D and E,
Well, no, like I feel like you were if it were you, like you would have crossed D off and you would have gotten to E. What would you have done?
um, I mean, I reading E, I know I don't like it because I like copyright law could be used for more than education. I probably
And
would have gone,
primarily is way too strong.
yeah, I probably would have gone back up. I maybe would have left D because the other three were easier to cross off, and
I
D,
agree. New practices can compel the courts to refine. Yeah.
yeah, I might have
New
just went back
practices.
and then did
So
D.
what is the new practice? The new practice is copy shops putting together these packets and selling them for educational purposes.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Go ahead and read this question out loud.
So which one of the following describes a role most similar to that of professors in the passage who use copy shops to produce course packs?
So whenever I see this kind of question, I want to loosely predict like what is the relationship of coffee shops to course packs here?
We know that they were producing course packs themselves, but they were
Or the
charging them.
professors, I should say. Sorry.
Okay, professors were going to copy shops to produce course packs for their students, because it's probably cheaper.
Okay, but it's a role most similar. So like what is the role of the professors to the coffee shop? So here I'm thinking like essentially they're the same thing, right? Like we could either the professors can create the course packs or the copy shops can. It's just a different way.
Yeah, the professors could photocopy it themselves or something like
Yes.
that. Okay.
So let's go into A.
An artisan generates a legible copy of an old headstone engraving by using charcoal on newsprint and frames and sells high quality photocopies of it at a crafts market. I mean, I guess we only have the one person here.
An artisan generates a legible copy of an old headstone engraving. Yeah.
Um, Acquire directs tapes a selection. A choir director tapes a selection of another well-known choir's best pieces and sends it to a recording studio to be reproduced in a sellable package for use by members of her choir. Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I don't hate that one.
Yeah. A grocer makes several kinds of sandwiches that sell for less than similar sandwiches. No, I don't like C.
From a nearby upscale cafe. We're not trying to undercut them. Like the professor isn't trying to undercut the copy shop.
No. A professional graphic artist prints reproductions of several well-known paintings at an exhibit to sell at the museum's gift shop. I don't like that one either. A souvenir store in the center of a city sells miniature bronze renditions of a famous bronze sculpture that the city is noted for displaying. I like B the best.
Perfect. All right, let's go on to. All right, and now let's go on to 6.
Which one of the following, if true, would have most strengthened the publisher's position in this case? So
So what
basically,
is the publisher's position?
the publisher's position is that they're well, it was that if we let like these copy shops do it, more will do it, and it will undermine the value of their
Yeah.
work.
So we want to strengthen that.
Okay.
We want to strengthen that. Okay, cool.
Course packs for courses that usually have large enrollments had produced a larger profit for the copy shop owner. Not really. It's just talking about how much money they made.
Okay.
The copy shop owner had actively solicited professors' orders for course packs. No, not really. The revenue generated by the copy shop sale of course packs had risen significantly within the past years. No, not really either.
Because just because that has risen significantly doesn't mean that the value of their book has gone down.
No, I guess yeah. Many area bookstores had reported a marked decrease in the sale of books used for producing course packs. Um, I guess that's not bad.
Okay.
The publishers had enlisted the support of the author to verify their claims that the copy shop owner had not obtained permission. Oh, I think I like D better. D, I see it as like if bookstores have reported decrease in sales of the books, then more students are going to get it copyrighted at other places. Like more copyright shops are copying
Yeah,
or copy shops. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
great job. How do you feel?
Okay. This was easier, like taking it slower and like going through it like that. I guess I wasn't being critical, but I do think like
I
I
think
understood this passage.
I think this is what you should be doing whenever you're doing like your daily passage of like what does it mean to like slow down and really go through these answer choices, like kind of how we answered it and made our predictions. That's what I
Yeah.
really want you to work on.